So before we dive into the essays, I just want to remind you that everything is available on Edline. By everything, I mean everything. You click on notes and assignments, and right there you can find in our unit all the PowerPoints, in-class activities, all the homeworks if you're missing any of those. I'll accept those until Monday. The intro class project that we did, review, stuff about notebooks. Oh, if you click on this notebook, it gives you, in this notebook link right here, it gives you a rubric that you can go through to double check your notebook to make sure that when you hand it in for the test that you got everything good to go. Let's see, what else? Oh, all the warm-ups and everything. So everything you can need for your notebook or for your test is right there. And I'll be referring to those PowerPoints pretty regularly as we go through this. So first of all, we went through these saints in part 1 video, but I would like you to know about one of these saints in more detail and be able to write pretty intelligently for a paragraph or so about that saint. So you can pick, well, Perpetua and Felicity you could probably do together, but the other ones, pick one of them and feel free to do some more research, impress me, see what you can come up with. All right, but I'll leave that to you. Let's talk about this one. This is the big one. Evaluate. That's a big essay word. Evaluate, meaning you're going to have to give me an opinion. Evaluate the changes made by Constantine to the Christian movement. To what extent do you think they would be beneficial to Christianity in the long run? Would Christianity have been better off without the changes? So the first thing, you got to, I want to talk about what I mean by beneficial or not beneficial. Remember what the church is supposed to be, what the church is supposed to live up to. It's supposed to live up to the 4 marks of the church: 1, holy, Catholic, and apostolic. So in your evaluation of Constantine's changes to the church, you should probably talk about to what extent it helped the church to be 1, holy, Catholic, and apostolic. So you got to know what those terms mean. And if you work that into an essay and you did it really well, that would be awesome. So try to do that. So first of all, what changes did Constantine make? Let's write some out here. So first of all, obviously the Edict of Milan, which made Christianity legal, and that had huge impact. He also popularized Christianity, really kind of promoted it, even though it wasn't the official religion until after his death. He promoted it by building churches, and he promoted Christians into positions of authority, which was a big deal. For the first time, we have Christian governors and generals and things like that, which we didn't have before. Really, not on a large scale. We also get a revamp of the liturgy. We get the Christian liturgy is infused with elements of Roman worship, like the Roman cult, where they would worship and sacrifice to the Roman gods, Jupiter, Venus, etc. So some of the things that they incorporated into the Christian worship was vestments that the priests would wear. They would have processions. They would have incense. How do you spell incense? There you go. Kneeling and genuflecting. Those are all elements of Roman. They used to genuflect for the emperor. Those are all elements of Roman worship and the Roman cult that got adopted into Christianity. Also choirs, singing back and forth in choir style. One side sings, the other side sings. Things like that. All of that was Roman stuff that he took from Roman culture and adapted into Christianity. And that really set a precedent for the rest of Christianity. I mean, even today during the Mass, we do a lot of those things. And also, other times when Christianity encountered a new culture, it would kind of take the same attitude that Constantine did. It would adopt different things from different cultures. That's called enculturation, which we'll get to more when we get to Vatican II. But it's the reason why nowadays you can go into D.C. and find a Catholic church with a gospel choir, go into Tacoma Park and find a Catholic church with like a more mariachi-sounding band. The reason you can go to another church and find like a rock band, another one a folk band, another one a more traditional choir, Gregorian chant, etc. It just kind of depends on the culture of the church. So also he called the Council of Nicaea, which affected doctrine. That's interesting. What else? What else did Constantine do? You know where I might look if I'm having trouble remembering all of this off the top of my head is I might look at Constantine changes everything. That's number 3. So some things that he changed, we talked about this, toleration of religions. Oh, appoints Christians as leaders. This is really important because before, Christians didn't really have to worry about like protecting other people. You know, if the barbarians invaded, the Roman legions took care of it. Well, guess not what? Now I'm not just a Christian bystander, I'm a Christian governor, and those are my people that are being attacked by those barbarians. So, but Christians are nonviolent. Christians have always been pacifists before. So, you know, we're all supposed to turn the other cheek. So what do I do when barbarians are slaughtering my people? What do I do? So that's where they start to develop things like just war theory, which is something that St. Augustine came up with to try to figure out when, in what cases and how violence can be used and when can that be justified. Actually, that's talked about right here on this slide. St. Augustine develops just war theory. But before Constantine, pretty much, if you were going to be a Christian, you couldn't be a soldier. And there's lots of examples of soldiers who, when they became Christians, left the army. Most famously, St. Martin of Tours. The other thing that happened that also is relevant to St. Martin, notice he was right after the Edict of Milan in 313, is that he's the first non-martyr saint. Before Constantine, to be a saint, you pretty much had to be a martyr or you had to be in the Bible. St. Martin's the first saint who's not in the Bible or a martyr, because there weren't really any martyrs anymore. I mean, there were some, but there weren't major persecutions like there were before, so that wasn't really as big of an issue. This is another key issue, is now, you know, there was never a separation of church and state, but now that church is not the Roman religion, now it's the Roman Christian church. And so now the Pope is not just a religious leader, but also like a political leader. And we have this idea of the two swords, that the emperor and the Pope are the two swords that defend the empire and the church. So that's going to cause a lot of issues of like, is the Pope a politician? Is the emperor a religious authority? What do we do with that? And we'll see as we study through the later centuries of the church that becomes an issue. So what I want you to try to tell me is any of this, to what extent is any of this beneficial or harmful to Christianity in the long run? Does it make Christianity too soft? Does Christianity become too lukewarm? Are there too many lukewarm Christians after this happens? Would it have been better if we had stayed a bunch of rebels and outlaws? Or, you know, is this really good? Did it allow Christianity to become open to many more people and spread the gospel and all those sorts of things? So I want you to really think about it. Think about the changes to the liturgy. Did that help the church to be more one, holy, Catholic, and apostolic, or did it hurt the church? And think about why. I really want you to try to come up with some good reasons to support what you think. Again, I don't really care whether you say yes it was or no it wasn't, or some mix of both. You could say, oh, it was beneficial in these ways, but in some ways it was a drawback too, where you could say overall it was not beneficial, but in some ways it was beneficial. But I at least want you to, whatever you decide about these changes that he made, whether they're beneficial or not, I want you to have good reasons to back them up. But that's for you to decide and for you to think about. So I hope you found this helpful. Good luck. I'll see you tomorrow.